All right. Okay, so we have so many new faces. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Nicole. I'm your guys' presidential upline. I'm from Las Vegas. It's nice to see you guys. I am sick right now, so if I suddenly lose my voice, just bear with me. I have an upper respiratory infection. I am going to be joined with DeCarmen, who tonight we're going to talk about work-life balance. And as you can tell, the balance is, that the lovely bun that's on top of my head and my oversized comfy clothes. But so I think that, so DeCarmen and I, we both are, I think busy is an understatement. But we have two different types of approaches and different styles. So I'm gonna let DeCarmen go first. She'll kind of tell a little bit about her. She does lots of different things, but the point and what I want you guys to gather from what we're going to be talking about and teaching is that is essentially the few-hour workday. It doesn't matter if you work a full-time job, if you are a stay-at-home mom, because kids are a full-time job. They're like a 24-hour job, whereas I can leave my 9 to 5 and I get to come home and I don't have to worry about it. Or if you run multiple nonprofits, it doesn't really matter like what you're doing besides It Works. It's that you can fit this business into small increments of time. So bust out your guys' notes. I'm going to let DeCarmen kind of go first. And if you could just introduce yourself, tell a little bit about yourself, and then I have some questions for you. So I think I unmuted you. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. So first, DeCarmen, just kind of introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your story with us, and then I have some questions.
Okay, so my name is DeCarmen Mittenall. So I'm 29, and I've been with It Works. I will be with It Works at least for 2 years in March. So that's my renewal date. So I came across this business basically because I was looking to make a little bit of extra money. I was a stay-at-home mom. I had just moved to Texas, and I wanted to make a little bit extra money without necessarily having to get a full-time job because I was breastfeeding at the time, and my daughter was breastfed until she was 3. So it was important for me to be able to continue to breastfeed and be with her at full time. Plus, this is your first child. When you have your first child, it's like you don't want to leave their side. So that's how I got really involved with It Works. Actually, my upline, Araceli, reached out to me. I was running a page on Instagram, which was Raising Little Geniuses, that me and my sister-in-law started. And she reached out to me, and she was just like, hey, come to an interest meeting. And I came, and I ended up joining. So that's a little bit about the backstory of how I got involved with It Works.
Sorry, I was frantically looking for my pen.
In that, I guess why I'm good for this segment is because I'm busy, so I am schooling my daughter, and so I stay home with her full time. But I also run 2 other businesses. So I'm a president and founder of a nonprofit that services children in Uganda, Africa. And then I'm also we help the women in the community in Uganda. So I have an African accessories business. We give women loans in Uganda, and we help sell their product here. And then also I just became a published author this past year. So definitely trying to balance everything is definitely always something, because you're a mom first. So that's a little bit about my backstory.
Okay, so I know even at one point, like when you were in school and you were working towards your master's,
yeah,
I know because we have some girls on the team that are also in school. So my first question is, how do you or how did you during school time work the business in between either classes and homework and mom life? Like what activities did you specifically do and fit into those bursts of time?
Well, it just depends, because my husband's military, so when he's away, I worked it a little bit different versus when he was there. When he's there, we kind of alternate. When we know on school nights where he has stuff due and I have stuff due, we kind of alternate watching my daughter. So that's a point that we do. But also, like, the first thing I do when I wake up is make a list of everything that I need to get done. And then I make a list of what is important, what is not, what is immediate need, what is something that I can wait on, and then something that I can eventually, like, get to. And so that's kind of how, like, I dictate my day. I get the stuff that needs my attention right away, and then I move on to the stuff that's in the middle, and then I finally get to the stuff that, I can wait on a little bit so I can expand my time. But yeah, so definitely me and my husband, we know like what days like our assignments are due. Like his assignments are due on Monday. Mine are usually due by Sunday. So like he'll give me 2 or 3 days out of the week to work on my homework, and then I'll flip and give him the other 3 days to work on his homework. So we kind of tag team when it comes to school. Because most of the time, if you're at home, you're usually taking online classes. But if you're full time, then what I usually do is I take out like a day. And when I was full time, I would take out like a day on the weekend, and I would build all my content. And so like I would like literally I would go and dress up and take pictures in all the African accessories. Then I would switch and do my pictures in all the It Works the gear, and then all the products. Like one day I just took pictures outside. I came inside, took pictures of different products and stuff like that. And so I had all this material built up. The other thing that I think is a positive that I do is I incorporate my daughter with my posts. So, like, if we're cooking in the morning, like we're doing breakfast, because my daughter likes to cook, I'll have like the It Works products in the background, or I'll add it to like we'll say, oh, we cooked lunch, we did breakfast with, and we had a side of core nutrition on the side, or we'll say, oh, we made smoothies, and we'll add that with our breakfast. So people don't even know they're liking it. It Works post. They just see us cooking breakfast, but they don't realize like, hey, they're making a smoothie. They'll see the products in the background, but they don't necessarily know, like, like we don't say like, oh yeah, we're gonna put this in there. The other thing that I do in regards to, I try to incorporate her with it. So like also like with the green shoes, I'll let her take pictures eating them. If there's a product that that's safe for kids to eat, you can let them incorporate them, get them involved. My daughter loves taking pictures, so she'll hold up a bag or stuff like that. So you can definitely incorporate your child into your post. So therefore, you're making them more a part of it. So, and then also, your mother, so if you're mother, you're gonna appeal to other mothers. So having working on your computer while, holding your child or whatever, having her in the hip, you can always do a caption like saying, calling all mamas if you're looking for some extra money. Not say use your child, but basically that's what it boils down. And people, they respond better to cute pictures of cute kids. So, hey, if you gotta use
So
it.
what I like about that, and what I want to kind of touch on, is that what DeCarmen's talking about too, though, is that like she's showing like normal life. She's not talking about like, yeah, she does do like a content day where she'll go out and she'll take pictures that are maybe more staged, but she incorporates like her normal day-to-day life, like when they're making breakfast, when they're doing lunch. And I think it's important to have, like when you're doing content, it's important to have like a combination, because the combination is what's going to appeal to the masses. That average, for me personally, and I don't know how many of you other guys can attest to this, but I know that like I am not the kind of person that can take like perfectly, picture perfect photos. And so if I, were to see somebody on my timeline that had like, picture perfect pictures all the time, I don't know that I would necessarily resonate with that, because I know that I can't do that. But it's nice to be able to show content that appeals to, your network. And so that's kind of what DeCarmen's talking about is, content that appeals to, other moms and things that they're already doing in their day-to-day life. So now let's say like what if you're like, all right, I'm not a mom yet. Like, so what am I, like, how do I appeal to my network? All right, well, like Carmen was talking about, when she's in school. So if you are a student, I know we have a lot of we have a lot of teammates that are in school. For some reason, we just attract a lot of nurses. And so we have a lot of teammates that are in nursing school. And so when you don't be afraid to talk about like, hey, you know, I'm working my business within like 15 minutes in between classes, or, you know, in between, like I'm taking that break in between homework sessions. And it's creating that content like in between the life that you're already doing. And this way, like the people that you're starting to attract will have a more realistic idea, and they won't feel like, and this is just in my experience, they won't feel like, okay, you know, that it's easier for them to approach. And so that's kind of what, you know, DeCarmen was talking about as far as like creating content that appeals to, you know, your network and your crowd. If you're a mom, you're naturally going to attract more mothers. If you're, which doesn't necessarily mean you won't attract people who aren't, because obviously we're diverse, but it's in a sense that like, if you can show that the business can be worked in between like your normal life, then that will be more effective than if you're like, okay, it has to be like picture perfect at the perfect angle at the perfect, like, don't be afraid to show like life's normalcy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You got to show life's normalcy for sure. So you talked about making lists and like prioritizing. What are some of the top things in your business that you make a priority every single day?
Top things is coming up with a creative way to present the product. Because is that the one thing I can say is that people get tired of seeing, if it's like pictures of product, you know, you're just taking it from the corporate page and stuff, like they get tired of seeing that. So my thing is like, the first goal when I get up in the morning is like, of course I do my daily routine, but then I also post. I know that most people, I know the times of which to post, what times to post. So you need to really educate yourself on like the peak times. 6 a.m. is usually when most people are getting ready for work. So I get the biggest response at 6 a.m. So that's what I focus on. I'm like, okay, I know I have these set times I have to post. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting my posts ready. I try not to post, but maybe, you know, up to 3 times a day. If it's It Works related, I actually have kind of cut back just a little bit, because I notice that I get more of a response if it's like once or twice. But like I posted a post today, and like it was like me on my husband's Mustang, and like I had my It Works purse on, like, and I was just like in a jogging pants and stuff. And it was funny because I got almost 100 likes, and I was talking about It Works, but people didn't know I was talking about It Works. And then it was like, but they saw the bag. So it's almost like they do with what they do with us with commercials. Like you see the product, and it's like you see the pizza, you want the pizza, but sometimes it's like it might not even be about the pizza. So you want to definitely, like, I put it in, like, put my products in background pictures, and you'll see it. But people, I've had like at least 2 or 3 ladies like, hey, I want to order something, and I haven't even reached out to them. And I'm like, okay, why are, and it's weird because they just see your post, and they like it, and there's more people see it. Because I've noticed that one thing is people get turned off by too many posts of It Works, because they feel like you're trying to sell them something. So you need to show it, but not totally give it. So the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is, like I said, I get my routine. I know that I have to post at 6 a.m. So what I do is I go ahead and post. I post on all my pages. I actually have over 9 pages that I run. So I post on all across all my pages, and then and that's what I said. This, I build up my content, and then I come up with something clever. Recently, I've been starting this thing where I've been telling people like, hey, don't be rude, say good morning. I try to get my interaction up on my page, so that way when I post throughout the day, more people are interacting. So I'm like, hey, that's rude if you don't say good morning. And so then I'll have, like, at least by the time 10 a.m. rolls around, I have at least 15 people that said good morning. So I know they're watching my page. And then that's why I know I'm going to get more engagement on my page, because they've already responded to my the first command, which is, hey, don't be rude, say it back, and they said it back. So they're watching my page. So that's how I pretty much gauge, like, okay, what I'm going to post that day, depending on how many people respond. So I know who's watching. And so basically, you want to post lifestyle posts. People love seeing my daughter cook. They call her little chef. So I just try to make sure, like you said, incorporating daily things. But that's the first thing. That's one of my top priorities. Like after I brush my teeth, wake up, pray, and then all that, I definitely get on my posting and then start my day from there. And then, like I said, it's more so like um, whatever is important or I have on my list, I try to check it off.
Uh-oh. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, I just wanted to check the chat and see if anybody had questions. Okay. And then so what other like last minute like tips do you have for basically integrating the business into like short spurts of time? So you talked about like basically making sure you have backup content, and then making sure that you basically know your audience, knowing when to post, and basically what attracts them. So knowing your audience in the sense of like, when to make your post. Do you have any like last minute tips or tricks to integrating the business into short spans of time before I?
The only tips and tricks the only thing that I can think of is if you are a mom, schedule things out. Like most of the times, like me, I have my daughter on a routine. So I know that she has gymnastics on, and I know she has dance. So I know on Wednesday she has dance class. That's an hour that she's basically in the class. So I know that that's an hour that I have to work. Okay, so definitely do that. The other thing, I would pace yourself. Like don't get like caught up in what other people are doing and how people are promoting. Like pace yourself based over what you think that you can handle at this time, because as this business moves, you're going to get more distributors, you're going to get people, you're going to get more customers. You want to make sure that you can handle it all, so you need to have a system in place. I really like the follow-up worksheet that we have, so you can write these things down. That's going to help take away a lot of time, because you're already going to have these things down, you're already going to have people written down, so you know exactly who to go to. You're going to have your hundreds list, or some people say hundreds list, or it might be more, but you want to have people already in mind that you're going to approach about the business, because you don't want to be so scattered everywhere. That you want to have constructive work time. Like you don't want to just be busy, you actually want to be effective. So you need to make sure that you have an agenda within that hour. If it's to reach out to at least 30 people, you need to have that agenda already in mind. So if I'm going to dance class, I know I have an hour. Okay, I'm hitting up all my LCs, or I'm going to post in my group. Also, stay motivated, self-development. You need to find time for it. They say the first 5 minutes of your day, if you do not turn on, it determines how you feel the rest of the day. So pop on some self-development, get that in motion. That's going to help you better time management your day. And if you don't get to it, it's okay. Like, don't break down. Don't say mama needs it. No, it's okay. Like that's the biggest thing I can would tell a lot of people, because even I had get some new people in the business, and they immediately, oh man, I wanted to do this, but it's okay. Regroup, refocus, and get back, on track. And you have tomorrow. Like it's okay. So mommy duties come, or if you have schoolwork, it's okay. Like you said, do what you got to do, and then get back to work. You know what I'm saying? So those would be my biggest tips.
Okay, so we had two questions. Okay, so one I can answer. What's the follow-up worksheet? If you go into the team page and you go to files, there are a few different types of follow-up worksheets. There's like a potentials list. There's where you can it's basically keeping track of potentials. And then there is like a host to post list. And so those are the ones that she's talking about. And then somebody else wanted to know, what are your non-negotiables that you do every day, regardless of how busy you are? Do you have any?
Yes. So first of all, because I'm a mom, I have to get up. For me, this is different for everybody, but I feel better when I actually get fully dressed, makeup and everything, because it just makes my day a little bit better because I feel like I'm ready to go, you know. The other thing that's a non-negotiable for me is praying. Like, I even teach my daughter to go talk to God in the morning. The other thing is like, hey, you gotta change your pamper. I gotta put my clothes on. You gotta put your clothes on. So picking her clothes out. The other thing too, it depends on if it's a school day where I'm teaching her. We usually until 10 o'clock it's school time. And then she gets a little break, and then another hour, and then she gets lunch, and then we're done. Because you know she's only 4, so I don't want to keep her past 12. So on school day, it's like from 8 a.m. to 10. So those are like some non-negotiables. Like, she has to be in school. So any work that I have on a school day, it has to wait until either that lunchtime or she's busy after 12 doing whatever she's doing, playing or whatever. And then on a day that it's not, like the non-negotiables for me, first of all, is like I said, that self-development, that 5 minutes in the morning, the prayer time, definitely keto coffee. Like, I have to have that for me to be alert, getting fully dressed, feeling good about myself. And then I feel like you can be more effective that way. If you feel good, people are going to feel that vibe and they're going to respond well to it. So those are my non-negotiables. I have to do that. Doesn't matter how busy I am. I have to do that. I have to take care of my child, especially. So those are the things I definitely can't do. And the list, waking up each morning and having a plan of action for the day. Like, and you can't accomplish everything for that day. Just get that out your head. You make the list and you say, at least if I accomplish these things, I will feel satisfied that as though I have accomplished something in the day. Because a lot of people put too much on their plate to accomplish in one day, and they get disappointed when they can't finish everything. So just say, if I get these 3 things done today, I would be a happy camper. Like, sometimes it's just cleaning my house. So if it's cleaning the house or doing the laundry, that's fine. So that's what you have to set a goal for. So if you do the business in between that, and you're okay with just getting those three things done, then great. Just don't put too much on yourself by making the list.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, DeCarmen. All right, cool. So it's my crazy turn. All right, cool. So let me try to see. I'm on my iPad, so like I don't know how to. All right. Oops. Okay. All right. So okay. So for me, I have worked a 9 to 5 from the moment that so I started this business because I was unemployed and I was fired from what my career job was. And so I'm an accountant by trade. I went to school for gaming management, finance and accounting, and I'm just really good with numbers, which is why I'm the one who studies your guys' comp plan. So if you have like comp plan questions, I'm the person everybody comes to because I know the comp plan like literally the back of my hand. I could tell you probably what you're going to make down to a penny's penny. Okay. So, I, when I started the business, I needed $500 to pay my car payment, my car insurance. And like I said, I was unemployed. Well, I went Ruby and in like 3 weeks and then I started a job. So I have always worked this business with a 9 to 5. And then for those of you that don't know me, there was an 8-month span where I quit the business. Okay. So like, I'm one of those people that like, and I don't mean like, I know some people like quit and cancel. I quit in the sense of like, I stopped running my auto ship and then like, I let our team page kind of like decimate and like, just, and so I was a double diamond at that point. For those of you that are not necessarily familiar. So I had Kingston and then I was on bed rest and I got sick the first time and I literally gave up. So by like show of hands or show of comments, like how many of you have had life happen to you since you started this business? And maybe you started this business more than once, because I know there's some people that I personally enrolled that this is their like second go around. So if you've had life happen to you, by show of hands, okay, cool. We've all been there. We're all there currently, maybe me, yeah. Okay, that's okay. So everything I did when I first started this business I literally would not teach you any of it, even though it got me where I was very fast. It was unsustainable. It was like, or at least I thought it got me. Anyway, I went double diamond in a year, and I was like, oh my gosh, I thought it was amazing, right? And I thought all this like, you know, awesome stuff. And then I realized when I lost it all in like 2 months that I was like, man, this is so unsustainable. Like, holy crap. It's because I didn't have any of the tools that we're teaching you now. I didn't know how to create content. I didn't know how to manage my time. I didn't know how to, I didn't know how to take care of myself at all. I did not take care of myself at all. I didn't even know what self-development was. So if you join this business, and you don't know what self-development is, that's okay, because I didn't either. When I made my comeback, I went, so I had a blood clot, and then I was diagnosed with lupus, which is what I'm battling now. And then I had cervical and ovarian cancer. And I had cervical cancer first. Then right after my hysterectomy, I was like, all right, I'm going to make a comeback. Okay. So in my comeback, I went from a $500 check to a $10,000 check. I went from ruby to triple in 30 days. Again, would not recommend it unless you have 30 days to literally sacrifice to just this business. It was not the few hour workday. Okay. That's a completely different training. It was literally, I worked every single minute of my day to this business. All right. So if you are looking for like a miracle, then that happened because I put in a lot of hours. Okay. I want to be really upfront and honest with you. Then from there, 2 months later, we went presidential. So we went from $500 to like $17,000 in a month, or in 3 months. Like, we made that much money a month, but it took me 3 months to get there. But it happened because, like I said, we worked every single day, all day long. And I did everything from Facebook to Instagram to expos to everything and anything. It was not the few hour workday. Okay. I just want to be upfront and honest about that, like right now. Afterwards, after I realized like, oh my gosh, I practically killed myself to get there. How do I sustain this in a healthy manner? Like, how do I like now that all this is here, like what do I do so that I don't repeat history, right? Because I don't want to do that again. And so that's how I developed the few hour workday. Okay. And because I was trying to figure out like how could I work this business and have a 9 to 5. So even when I was going from Ruby to presidential, I still had a 9 to 5. How is that possible? Right? It's because I worked the business in between every single bathroom break, every lunch break, I did not hang out at the water cooler. I did not talk to coworkers. I put my nose down, and you guys, I'm an accountant. And so I went like March, April, May, and that's like the heart of tax season. Like, okay. And I'm a controller for 13 businesses. All right. And I don't mean like I'm like the data entry accountant. Like, I'm the person that everyone gives their shit to, and I got to check it and make sure it's good. And I got to send out all the tax forms. And like, I'm like the middle management type of person. So, so with that being said, the type of workday I had then and the one I have now are slightly different, but I want to talk to you about both of those because I don't know where each of you are in your business, and I don't know what your goals are. And like, my vision right now for myself is different from your guys's. And so if I were to take my glasses off and give them to you, we would see different things. So hopefully that makes sense. So I will explain what my old crazy workday used to look like. And maybe that's what you need. I think I saw somebody's comment saying like, I need to make $50,000 in 6 months. Cool. Okay. If you're ready, are you ready? All right. This is what you're going to do. Okay. You're going to wake up an hour before, at least at minimum, an hour before everybody else in your house. And you are going to pray. I don't care how long how you can have like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, however long, but you need to be up at least an hour before everybody else, and you need to pray. You need to clear your head and start your day off the right way. Usually that hour before everybody wakes up, even then, I didn't turn my phone on airplane mode then because I hadn't thought of it yet, but now my phone goes on airplane mode. So then like, I don't physically hear my phone going off because then I'm tempted to go answer it. So I just turned my phone off, but pray. And that was like, and sometimes it's for me, it wasn't like my traditional prayer where it was like, I necessarily like was on my knees praying, but it was just like my time to talk to God, and like my time, or if you guys don't believe in God, it's your time to talk to the universe, your time to talk to yourself. But you need at least 15 to 20 minutes of that quiet you time. After I had cancer the first time, I really, really struggled with depression and really feeling, you guys, I was like 230 pounds. I had gained a ton of weight. Hormone cancers are really hard on the body, and it was just hard on me emotionally. And it was like my time to forgive myself and to tell myself that I was like, any of the things I needed to tell myself. It was in those moments that I did that. Okay. So I want you to do that for at least 15 minutes in the morning. Okay. Then after that is when I did all of my other stuff. And by stuff, I mean, whatever I needed to do to get my business ready before my kids woke up. So like I have children. So for that 45 minutes, I would go in and I would respond to any of the people that messaged me the night before. So like, let's say like if I sent out messages on Instagram or Facebook, like I would send that 45 minutes, and like I would wake up before my husband. So like there was nobody there to talk to me or bother me or anything. Like I would only respond to potentials. I did not respond to current customers or current distributors, period. Only to potentials for a solid 45 minutes. I don't really, especially because they're not awake. They're usually not awake right at that minute. So they're not necessarily going to respond back to me. So your likelihood of responding to more people was higher. So you were able to like get a lot of them out of the way. All right. At that time, I mean, now I still do the same thing, but at that time I worked Instagram. I was just learning how to really use Instagram. I'm not nearly I wasn't as good as it then as I am now, but I responded to just potentials for that 45 minutes. Then I would get my kids ready. But I was like, and I sort of still am, like a drill sergeant. I was never in the military, but my husband was. And I sort of adapted that from him. But like everybody had to get, like, we were on a time schedule. So like I had a goal and I had like shit that needed to get done. So that means that everybody had to participate in that goal. So communication was big. So I had to, and you guys, I'm not gonna lie, Justin and I are usually pretty transparent. During the time I was going from Ruby to Prez, like it was a really hard time for our family. Justin and I were not in a very good place, but I had to communicate with him and I had to tell him like, like I need to do this. Like, how can we accomplish this? And how can we do this? And some parts he was on board and some parts he wasn't. Some parts I had his help and some parts I didn't. So communication and knowing if you are married or have a spouse or have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever the case may be, knowing what they're going to participate in and what they're not, realistically, you need to know what that is. And if they're not going to participate in anything, then you need to be okay with that and know that, all right, cool. I got to figure out how to, like DeCarmen said, make a list and prioritize. So while my kids were brushing their teeth, making their lunch or whatever, getting ready, I was making that list. I didn't have time. So this is when I did not have the luxury of having fancy notebooks and like fancy journals, and I didn't have the time to have fancy planners because I took all the frill out. Okay, so this version of my workday has 0 frill. All right, so this is my no BS version. I just used my notes in iCloud and in my iPhone. So if I needed to get something done that day, I used notes and reminders. So I made my list of things I needed to do that day in reminders. And if I wrote it down, I was getting it done, period. I did not go to bed unless everything on my checklist was finished. Now, keep in mind, I needed I needed to make that money. That income goal was not a choice. It was a requirement. I absolutely had to. So different stages of business. Okay. This is a stage of my business when I really, 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 really needed it. Because I was dying and I needed it. So I needed it to try different treatments, and I needed it because my son was going through different therapies, and we thought he was on the autism spectrum. And so different stages of business. Okay. So if I put it on my list, it was happening that day. I used reminders and I had an It Works calendar. an It Works reminder list. And so whatever was happening that day, like had to happen. So my first thing was 45 minutes of messaging potentials. Then I got my kids to school, and driving to work, I got one of the, I suggest investing in it hooks up to the mirror on your car, and you put your phone on it, and it like, so that you can be hands-free and go live at the same time. I went live every single morning for 3 months straight. Every morning. I swear to God, I think people thought I lived inside my car. Every morning. Most of the time, I wasn't even actually physically looking at the camera because I had to pay attention to the road to drive to work. I talked about everything from whatever the hell my kids did that morning to, oh my God, I cannot believe like I just welcomed 2 more people to my team. I can't believe it. Like, we're actually going to make this goal. There were times when I was so emotional, like, holy crap, like, I think I'm going to do this. Like, I think I'm going to be able to pay for this, experimental treatment. Oh my gosh. Like, I think I'm going to be able, people saw every facet of my experience of getting through this goal, that I truly believe it was one of the reasons why I got to the goal in the first place, was because people were a part of the journey with me. They saw the ups, the downs, the excitements. They saw me crying, me laughing. They saw me frustrated because I was like, damn it, I was supposed to get up an hour early and I only got up, 30 minutes early, and blah, blah, blah. And I talked about everything. I talked about life. I talked about my dreams, my aspirations. I had no set like script. It was literally off the cuff. And there would be times when I'm like, I know none of this even makes sense. And there would be days when I would talk to the same 3 people, and there would be days when I would have 75 people. And it did not matter. So every single day I went live every morning, pretty much at the same time for 3 months straight. Okay. So that was the next thing I did. Then I would get into the office. I would do my accounting stuff because we would have like a pre-shift. So I don't know how many of you guys, by show of comments, work a traditional job? Maybe not necessarily 9 to 5, but you have a traditional, or you go to school. Okay. So if you go to school or you have like something that requires your time to physically be out of the house. So I would do whatever I needed to do. And then I also had backup content, and I would post. I swear to God, I think my office thought I had a bladder infection. I would take a bathroom break every 2 hours, and I would go and post on that bathroom break, because it takes you, when you have backup content, it takes you 3 seconds to post. 3 seconds. So I would post on Facebook, post on Instagram. We did not have stories back then. So like, how much easier is it to work the business now that you have stories? Like, we did not have that. So we didn't have that. So I would post on Instagram and then post on Facebook. And then 2 hours later, I would do it again. And then the people, because my bathroom break would be like 5 minutes. So the people who commented on the first one, I replied to every single comment. Every single comment. I would tell them thank you, or I think reactions had first come out. I would like heart it or like it or whatever. Like, I was constantly interacting. My page had so much traffic. It was like coming out of my ears. Then on my lunch break, I did not eat lunch with my coworkers. There was no social hour. That was not a thing. Okay. I ate at my desk and I did the letter of the day. If y'all do not know what the letter of the day is and you don't do it for your Facebook, I'm telling you right now, you are doing your business a disservice. Go download your Facebook friends list, alphabetize that shit, and start the letter of the day. Because when you do the letter of the day, it allows you to remove people that are not active. I know we all have people that share everything out the wazoo, and you don't even know who they are, like what they like. You can't interact with them. You could never message them. You have no idea, like, if they're even a real person. Like, they could be a robot for all you know. You don't know. So you can get rid of those people. It allows you to interact. Like, what I loved about it is it had nothing to do with It Works. So I'm sure someone's going to ask me what my non-negotiable is. My letter, if I don't do the letter of the day, I feel like I have like failed my business for that day. Like I have to do it. I have to do it because that's how I grow my network on Facebook. That's how I grow my network, because I add like 2 to 3 people from every single person's profile that I have just a few friends in common with, sometimes no friends in common with. But I interact with them. If I can message them or if I can post on something that we have, something in common with, I don't talk about It Works at all. I talk about everything else but this business. But because I post regularly in my stories and on my profiles, they will see my posts anyways. So the letter of the day is so huge, and it's genuine interaction. So it's not like I want to mention, I've never cold messaged a single person a day in my life. And I will never teach you that. Like ever. You will never, ever, 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 ever message a stranger. Like period. You just won't do that. I don't do that. And you don't have to, because they will come to you. They will like something, they will comment on something. And when you genuinely interact with people, they will do that. They will do that. Okay. So, with that being said, I did the letter of the day then. I developed it then. So I developed it then. I still do it now. We've just refined it a little bit more. Like as time's gone on and the algorithms change, we've just like tweaked it. So I did it then. And then same thing, 2 hours later, I would go to my bathroom break, and then I would respond. I would spend that 5 minutes literally responding to messages. Anybody on Instagram, anybody on Facebook. So I would do my first bathroom break after lunch would be Facebook. My second bathroom break after lunch would be Instagram. And then I would, finish whatever else I had to do at work. And if I had like some downtime, cause like, depending on what kind of job you have, like I have a desk job. So there is some downtime every now and then. If I had downtime, I can't get on Facebook or Instagram really on the computer. At least at that time, I really couldn't, especially during tax season, but I could every now and then on my phone. So if I could, I would respond to messages. If I couldn't, then I just literally couldn't. I mean, I just couldn't. So then I would go home. And as I was driving, now I'm going to be honest. So we're a hands-free state. You can't drive like being on the phone, but I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't text and drive, but I voice message. And, my husband always says like, I can't believe you tell your team this. I'm not telling you to do that. Don't do that. I did it. Don't necessarily do what I do. Don't do that. Especially if you're in a state where it's against the law. Don't break the law. Don't do that. But I voice message because I can drive with one hand. I don't know. I would get my kids. I would come home. While my kids were doing their homework, I was working the business. Communication was so important. Communication is so key. And like, I think when I first did the business that first year, I didn't communicate with my family, and I didn't communicate really with like my husband or my kids. And all they did was see me like this. And they never knew what I was doing. And I never told them what I was doing. And they never were really a part of it. Kind of like what DeCarmen was saying is like, my kids really weren't a part of me going from, distributor to Double Diamond. They weren't really a part of pictures. They weren't really a part of the hustle necessarily. So like they were very bitter and angry towards like mom always being on her phone. But like that 3 months, even though I was so much busier in those 3 months than I was the year before, they were a part of it. And like, they felt like, oh, okay, like mom's sitting at the table with me. Like they could hear me voice messaging, and they could see me working. Like they felt like I was working alongside them rather than like I was ignoring them. So these are lessons that I learned by literally failing forward. And sometimes I didn't even fail forward. Sometimes I literally just failed. And I hope that y'all can learn from mistakes that I made. So when they would do their homework, I would voice message and respond to all the people that if they like your photo, to me, that is like their way of reaching out. Some people are not as bold, and they won't comment and they won't message you. So if they like it, then I reach out and I'm like, hey, I noticed that that you liked this. And depending on like what it is, if it's the business or if it's, a product or whatever, like if it's a product, I only post about products that which I really should not do that. I really should post about all of them, but I post about products that I use, that my family uses. And we use a lot of them, almost all of them. So when I message people, I'm like, hey, I noticed that you liked, the Greens shoes. Like my kids love those products. My kids love those shoes. I wanted to know, do you want to try them? I always end in a question, always, because that keeps the conversation going. So I message all the likes on Instagram, and like, I really started getting much more traction on Instagram. So you guys, there would be times, this is before Instagram, way before Instagram had voice messaging. So I was like, if I had 200 likes on a picture, I was like, God damn, I am copying and pasting this message 200 times and hoping and praying to God Instagram didn't block me. I'm like, whew, my fingers, I have RA, you guys. Fingers were getting a workout. Like, but then this is where my kids came into play. How many of you guys have old broken iPhones that you don't use, or broken phones, period? I would plug in my phone, my old phone, and I would hook that up to Wi-Fi, and my kids would help me message. That is truly how I talk to so many people, because like I would have posts and I would be like, all right, especially Braden. Like Braden wanted to help me so much. I'd be like, okay, Braden, this is what you're going to do. Like, you're going to sit right here. I would literally like write the message out. I would copy it on, and I would be like, I would show him, all right, hold this down, paste, send. Hold this down, paste, send. Hold this down, paste, send. And like, he would be so freaking excited to help me. Like, and me, I was relieved. I was like, oh, sweet. All right, that's like one thing off my plate. Like, I don't have to do. And like, for him, he was like, oh, I'm helping mom make money. And like, I let him know what it was for. I was like, Braden, you're going to help mom make this promotion, and we're going to use this money so that mom can. I was trying to go to Mexico for experimental treatment, and Braden needed like $15,000 to do experimental treatment. He has a mood disorder, and he's dyslexic, and like a few other things. So I would tell him, like, you're going to help mom get this promotion, and we're going to use this money to help you and mom. Like, mom's going to be cancer free, and you're going to get the help you need. And he was all about it. He's like, all right, I got this. Like, I can do this. I can help. So like, it was just, I'm going to try not to get emotional about it, thinking about it. But like, it was just one of those moments where I was like, I think I was just so like drilled into like what I was doing that I don't know that I realized the impact of like being able to like, for him to be a part of it, but he was really, really a part of it. Okay. So during those 3 months, you guys, I worked probably 18 out of 24 hours. Even with my kids' help, I messaged constantly, nonstop. I was constantly interacting. If I didn't finish my letter of the day, like during the day, like if I didn't finish my letter, even though it's only for an hour, even if I didn't finish my letter that day, then I would finish it at night. Like, I was going to finish the letter. I grew all the way up to 5,000 friends on Facebook. Like, I made it happen. Okay. That is if you need to go from $500 to over $10,000 really fast, that's what your workday may look like. If you are like, you're insane, I can't do that, no worries. You don't have to. You don't have to. I am telling you my truth as it were to me. I don't do that anymore at all. Not even close. I work this business maybe like 4 hours a day. Okay. Like, that is like long gone, long history. All right. So that's what my day looked like then. Does anyone have questions about that? Like, psychotic, I needed a miracle at that moment. By the way, we did accomplish it. I went to Mexico. I got my treatment, and I am cancer free and have been in remission for, it'll be a year at the end of this year. Actually, in August, it'll be a year. So I did what I needed to do. Different times. Okay. Different times. Desperate times cause for desperate measures. Does anyone have any questions about that? What gets included in the letter of the day? Okay. So, the letter of the day, it's actually posted, I believe, in the Diamond chats. If it's not posted in your Diamond chat, then I will make sure that it does get posted, because it should be. There's a calendar in the team page that tells you what the letter is. And basically all you do is you print out your Facebook friends list and you go and you alphabetize it. And you go to that letter and you go to each person's profile. Now I literally just do 1 hour of interacting. So I literally just, whatever I get done in that hour is whatever I get done. I delete people's profiles who are not, like, basically that just don't align with me. Cause sometimes like people end up on our profile, you know, just through like host to post or through, or just through like friends of friends, and like they just don't align with you. Be picky. Like you can be successful in this business and be picky. Like don't let people in your inner circle that don't feed your soul. And I'm being serious. Because if they end up on your friends list, they're eventually going to be a distributor or a customer, or they're your family. So if they don't fit, or your family are really, really, really close friends. So if they don't fit into any of those categories, then like they don't need to be on there. So I delete people that don't feed my soul. And then I try to like or comment on at least 3 of their posts. And then I add 2 to 3 people. I don't like to add more than 2 to 3 people because they're a potential. So I don't want our networks to like overlap. I don't want to like cannibalize their network, because if they become a distributor, I don't want us to have like, you know, a bunch of friends in common, because that won't, I don't, you know, does that make sense? I don't want to do that to them. But that's how you grow your network. You become friends of friends of friends. And then that's how, you know, you grow that market. So I will make sure, I will make sure that I personally post the letter of the day in every single chat. I will make that my commitment to you guys. Okay. Did you do the letter of the day for IG, or how do you grow your network there? I did not do the letter of the day for Instagram because there wasn't a way for you to print your list. Now there is a way, but I still don't, because people change their handles all the time. And once they change their handle, like you can't really change your name on Facebook. I mean, you can, but it's like unlikely. People change their handle all the time. Like I've changed my handle so many times. So that's why I don't do that. I use Captivate. And there's like there's a whole ball game of training on Instagram. If you guys, I left the Instagram boot camp up. If you guys want to look at that, you're more than welcome to. But I know my market and I know my niche. And so for instance, I use Captivate. That's what I use. So it's an app. I download it. It's free. And basically, if I'm looking for moms, I'm going to go on Captivate and I'm going to search certain hashtags that I think moms are going to use. And I'm going to add people from there. I'm basically going to search and look for things and people that align with my, that align with, you know, my ideology and stuff from there. So that's how I grow on Instagram. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. Many of us survived the $9.99. Many of us survived the $9.99. Oh, that was a beast. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So my schedule now looks completely different. All right. This is what I do now. I wake up, I still wake up in actually an hour and a half before everybody. I'm supposed to work out 30 minutes, but my body has been hurting so bad that now I do 30 minutes of like literally stretching, which I guess is essentially working out, but movement. Okay. So I wake up like an hour and a half before the kids. I do movement for 30 minutes. And then I do an hour of still, like praying or self-talk. And then I do an audiobook. And that is like during my audiobook, that's when I like brush my teeth and I'll like walk around and get dressed. And then I get my kids ready. I when I drive to work, I listen to some sort of motivational video. You guys, as a presidential diamond, and I'm going to be honest with you, why I'm still there. I am proud to say I will be retiring from my 9-to-5, but even as a presidential diamond, being in top 150, I still have my 9-to-5. I kept it for insurance purposes. For those of you who don't know, when you're a cancer patient, insurance is $6,000 a month. Just saying. And I just saying. So, like DeCarmen was saying, don't get in over your head. If you are in a 9-to-5 and you're like, oh, I'm making so much money with It Works, but it just doesn't make sense for me to quit my job, then don't do it. Then don't. Okay? I am not ever going to tell you to do anything that doesn't make sense for your family. Don't do it. Justin and I make great money with this company. $6,000 a month for health insurance does not make sense. That just does not make sense. That's why we've not done it. Lots of things have changed, and so we're able to not have to pay that. So yay, I will be able to retire from my 9-to-5 this year. But don't do anything that doesn't make sense for your family. Don't let anybody talk you into something that does not make sense for you, period, end of story. Just don't. So my first part of my morning is all self-development, just like DeCarmen. It's all about me. I don't even touch my phone until after I take my kids to school. I don't even like talk to people. And then I still have backup content. I make sure, same thing, like DeCarmen, I still, like her, I do once every 2 weeks. I'll take pictures, but once a night, I try to spend like 30 minutes creating content, like posts, like writing. That's like me. Thoughts. Do you guys journal? If anybody journals, I create posts for my journaling. Or if you voice message yourself, I can create posts off of just my own thoughts, or like go to Pinterest and find like inspirational posts of things that you like. That's how you start to create your own like content. You guys be more than welcome to use the posts that we give you. Use those. But as you grow your business, start to be yourself and use your own posts and your own thoughts and your own ideas. And that's what people are going to be most attracted to, is you. Because Nicole and Cully and Lexi and DeCarmen and Brittany and Stephanie, we are all different. And we all provide something different and something special. And that's what makes this team so diverse and so amazing, is that when people join us, it's not a cookie cutter. Like, they literally get so many different awesome personalities. And while we're here to help and support you, ultimately my goal is to teach you how to be the best version of yourself. It's not to teach you how to be the best additional version of Nicole. I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be like you. So content, super important, non-negotiable, 30 minutes a day. My audiobook, an hour a day. Like, I spend an hour a day either reading, physically reading, or on an audiobook. For me, I have to. And then an hour a day for my letter of the day. And then at minimum, an hour a day messaging. That's it. That's what I do. That's all. I know y'all looking at me like I'm crazy. That is it. An hour messaging, an hour audiobook, 30 minutes of content. And then the rest of the time that I spend during my day is serving you guys. And I post on my Instagram. Oh, just JK. I run Captivate every night. I load and run my Captivate every night. So I will, if you guys go to the team page and type in Captivate, there's like posts. And like, I think Caroline has a post describing how to use Captivate and what's it for. So I don't want to like take up any more of your guys' time, because I'm like 3 minutes over and I don't want to, but if you go to the team page and you go to search bar and you type in Captivate, Caroline has a post showing you how to use it and stuff. And so that only actually takes me like 5 minutes at night to like load it up, but it runs while I'm sleeping. So it's hard for me to kind of count that as like a thing. But yeah, so, an hour messaging, that 30 minutes was so worth it. Okay, good. Well, good. I'm glad it was worth it. Yeah, because training's an hour, so I'm only 4 minutes over. So I just don't want to take up too much, like I said, too much more of your time. Unless you guys have questions. It was like, I'm an open book. Like, I have been sick, and that's the thing. And like, I want you guys to know that like, I've been like, if you even sick, Nicole, the only things that I don't do as well when I'm sick is it's just harder for me to message as long as I usually do, because it's just, I sleep more because I'm sick, but I still am working my business. So I would say the variable in this whole thing is how long messaging takes me. So sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 2 hours. It just depends on how many people are responding to me. So that's why I say I work anywhere from like 4 to 5 hours. It just really depends on how long messaging takes. So work your guys' schedule based on what works for you guys and what works for your family. But for me, the most important things is really the most realistic thing is looking at like, what time do you have in the day? And like, how can you fit the business in that? And so, like I said, I work a 9 to 5. And so I fit my business in bathroom breaks, my lunch break, before my kids wake up, when they do their homework, and when they go to bed. And I truly believe that that's doable for most people. You know, before everyone wakes up, bathroom breaks, lunch break. So I don't want you to think you have to be on your phone 8 hours a day, because you don't have to be successful at all. And like DeCarmen said, put blinders on and really focus on your goals. Because actually, I think Araceli said it too. The only time we should be looking at somebody else, like looking over at somebody else, is if they need help. Basically, don't compare, your journey to somebody else's journey. So if you have your blinders on and you're paying attention to just, what goals that you have, then you won't be worried about how fast or slow someone else is going. So just worry about you and your goals. And then if you need us, you can find us in Diamond Chats or the team page. But does anyone have any questions? Either by like my normal work day, that's like normal, makes sense, or the craziness. Does anyone have any other questions? I voice message myself too, Beth. All right, that's how I journal. Okay, I'll turn this recording off.